Hey guys, MCU Collector here with the next figure review, and this is, of course, the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Avengers Wave 5, Avengers Endgame Wave 3. This is the Thor Build-A-Figure, or Bro Thor, Thor Lebowski, however you want to call him. So here we have Captain America. He is next up, and we have the many different looks of Captain America from Avengers Endgame. We have the stealth suit, which he wore at the beginning of the film. We have the Avengers 1 suit that he wore in the middle of the film. We have the Quantum suit, which was at the same time as the Avengers 1 suit, and then we have the final battle suit. So lots of different Captain Americas. So we get one more, and this one sucks. I'm going to tell you guys that straight up right now. I don't like this figure. Now, they made some good improvements on this figure from the one that we got in the first Avengers movie back in 2012, which was in a Walmart exclusive line, and then was re-released a few years later for the UK exclusive Best of 2016, I want to say. That was the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure, the UK Hulkbuster, so that was the different one. So that Captain America was repacked in that wave, and now we get it again. And you know what? It's a terrible, terrible figure. I'm hoping that there was some improvements or something made to it, but the one I have, this here, I actually have another one in my collection too, so this is actually the third figure now. It's terrible. So I'm going to do a comparison to see if there's anything that's been updated from that figure. Right now I can tell you the color is bit updated, and this one does look really good, but it's still going to be a crap figure, but we'll kind of see. Anyway, we'll get to it. Avengers Endgame logo down in the front, Avengers A up at the top, Build-A-Figure Thor, side artwork of Captain America in that Avengers 1 outfit, and I gotta say, that doesn't look like Chris Evans at all in that artwork, but still looks pretty cool. On the back of the package, we have a look at all the figures that we need to build Thor, and as you can see, I am simply just going down in order 1 through 6. So we looked at Iron Patriot already, Captain America now, then Heimdall, Iron Man, Valkyrie, and Vision to round it out before we look at Thor. Anyway, let's get right to it and look at that bio. Captain America, the all-American hero, Captain America charges into battle for justice. There's the artwork, which you couldn't really see earlier, but anyway, here is the figure, and I'm not liking it. I'm really not. I just got to tell you that right now. I don't like it. There is the UPC if you guys are interested. This wave is hitting Walmarts now. I got mine online from Daming Toys, located in Taiwan. If you're looking to get some of the figures and can't get a hold of them in store, you can purchase an order from them. And then shipping is actually not too bad when we look at international shipping rates from other websites. So I was happy to order from them. So you can actually go down the link in the video description below. So you can actually order each individual figure, or you can actually order the figure loose if you don't want to build Thor without the Build-A-Figure piece. So all for a great price. So again, link in the video description below. Anyways, let's get Captain America out of the package. Alright, and here's the Captain America figure out of the package. And I'm laughing because I hate this figure, man. I just don't like it. I had the hardest time just to get him to stand. That's why he's kind of one leg back and he's kind of turned a little bit. I just can't do it. But I will say it is an improvement over the previous figure, because as you can see, at least he's standing up straight, whereas this one is standing up. I can't even get him to stand up. That's how it is. I really don't. That's how he looks when trying to get him to stand up. And then this is how I had to get this Captain America to stand up. There's something about these ball hip joints that are the worst from any other figure that we've had. You know, you look at Agent Venom, Agent Anti-Venom, okay, you can work with it. I got it. You know, the old Spider-Man figures, Future Foundation, Big Time Spider-Man, ball hip joints, okay, you can work around it. These ones are like the worst ever, and I don't know what it is about these ones in particular, but they just really bothered me. But again, this one does have some improvements over that one. Mostly in the deco, and then of course new head sculpt. So this figure is a big improvement, and I am happy to have this version now. If I never had this one, then okay with this one, but I just, But anyway, let's get in for a closer look at this figure. Then we'll look at his articulation, we'll look at his shield, and then we'll do a comparison with the other Captain America figures from Endgame. Okay, so here's a close-up look at Captain America, and you can see we have a new head sculpt from the previous one, and I'll take a closer look. This actually looks to be the same one that was included in the Thanos Build-A-Figure wave, the Wave 1 from Avengers Endgame. That was on the Quantum suit. As you can see, it is the same head sculpt. Actually, is it the same head sculpt? Yeah, it's the same head sculpt, but you can see that one is taller than the other because the Quantum suit was kind of a generic body suit that was used with multiple characters. So that's the difference there. But anyway, we get right back to it with Captain America. Now, I really like the shade of blue that they use on this figure. It definitely looks much better and definitely more movie accurate, whereas the previous ones you could see back here was just super bright blue and just wasn't really accurate. There was some black or some gray up in here and then in here, so that's all kind of painted in with blue. So you have that here. You know, in the movie, I think it was more of a white, not necessarily the gray. I think the gray was kind of throughout some of the other movies, so I think white would have been a little bit more accurate. But one thing that they did on here, and you can't really, it's going to be hard to tell, but where the zipper is for the suit, they actually painted that silver. I mean, it's hard to see on video to get a really good look at that, but it is painted silver. Let me see if I can get a light in there to really show that off. It's hard to notice, but it is painted silver for where that zipper would be, so that's a nice little added touch, whereas the previous one didn't really have it. You can kind of see where it was kind of sculpted in there, but just wasn't painted that way. And then we actually get some added silver paint actually here on the gauntlets, the glove portions, the padding there. Alright, looks good, just a silver star in the back. And then we get some silver for the boots. That was the same. One thing that they changed up is they put black on the boot soles, whereas the other one they were just all red. So not a whole lot of change going on in here. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, there's some silver in the belt that was not on the previous one. But looking at these ball joints, so as we look at the articulation, I'll take a closer look at it. But this one, the difference between this one and the one I have is these ones you could see they're not straight. So that would be straight. Like the ones on my old one, they don't really move. So this one, they kind of move a little bit, but this one's kind of stuck. So it's kind of confusing on how it is. So I don't know if they're supposed to move or if that's just how it is there, or if I just have the defective one on that old one to where that ball hip doesn't want to move. But we'll take a closer look at that in the articulation like I had mentioned. So there it is. So let's zoom out and take a look at the articulation now. Okay, so for the articulation, Cap can't do anything with this head. I can't do it. There's a hinge in there because the old one can hinge. Okay, so that head's not going anywhere. It swivels though, but I'm not getting him to look up. I'm not getting him to look down. That's just not going to happen with this figure. There's a little tiny bit of motion that way, but that's all I'm getting out of it. Shoulders, it's a little stiff, but the shoulder can go up that high. You can get a full rotation. There is an upper bicep swivel there. You do get a double jointed elbow, of course. There is no wrist swivel, so this whole forearm piece and hand and everything is all one piece, so there's not going to be any swivel or anything in those hands. They're just both open hands there as well. No ab crunch. There is a diaphragm joint, so you can get him to pivot that side, pivot that way, that much. Forward is only a little bit, but you can see this big old hump in the back on kind of how it was designed. So it's just kind of funky, but you can go back that much, but then going back, you get a little bit of gap and it just looks kind of funny there. There is no waist swivel in there, so you're not getting him to turn, so that's what the diaphragm joint would be for. Legs can go out a full perfect split because of how that ball joint is. The hinge is just on the side, so you could just hinge the feet that way. Now the tricky part again is I heard a crack. Look at that, the legs move together. Is that normal? So you can kick forward that much. Let's see, can they move independent of each other? Kinda, but you really have to force it and then get them back into place. Anyway, there's a swivel up at the upper thigh where that ball joint meets. You do have a double jointed knee. No boot swivel of any kind. You have ankle pivot and a boot that hinges all the way down. So great hinge on that boot at least. And then you can hinge up a little bit too. So good motion in the boot, but now these legs are just all kinds of wonky. Can I get him to stand up now? Hey, look at that. I can actually get him to stand up better now that I kind of messed with that leg a little bit. So there is the articulation. Not the greatest, but you know what? It's not terrible, I guess. It's better than it was before, but then you have something like this where that arm isn't gonna go down anymore, so it looks just kind of funky. So it could just be mine, it's just really stiff and not sitting in place really like it should, because that is a big gap, so he can't really get his arm to come down to his side, but the left seems to be able to do just fine. But let's take a closer look at the two compared side by side. So I have to hold this one because I can't get this guy to stand. So another big noticeable difference is these ball shoulders actually had this darker blue where the rest of the figure was this bright blue. I'm not sure why that figure was done that way. Mine's just kind of dusty on here. That's kind of why it looks a little funky. And then this came with one of the weirdest Captain America shields. So the shield itself looks really good, but then the straps of it were these weird straps that you can put onto his back. And I mean, it's a good way to, you know, to store the shield on his back, but it just wasn't a real practical thing to use, because when you look at it, it's like, okay, that's kind of funky. And then you can kind of pull these a little bit, but then you have the extra long straps that could be visible. It was just really weird, and then kind of small, so you could see, you know, size difference of what they come with now. So now that we're looking at it, here's the one that comes with this new Captain America, and there's some battle damage, and I'm gonna assume that that's just a problem with my shield in particular, because we have these two scratches there, and then there's one there. So I think that's just a QC issue with this shield in particular, and not how it should be. If it is how it should be, that's pretty interesting, but based on the other shields that we've seen, so this is basically the same one that came with the Quantum suit, and you could see there are no issues with this one, but this one has those couple of issues. So I'm sure it's just mine. It's just a one-off, so you guys probably won't have to worry with yours. He does come with the right arm for the Thor Build-A-Figure, so we'll put that off to the side with the heads and go from there. But yeah, there he is. I also forgot to mention that if you look at the legs, there's the silver paint lines that were added on the new one. Okay, so I know now one of the big questions is, because in the movie, the current Endgame Captain America doesn't actually wear that cowl. So does the Power and Glory Steve Rogers head fit on this one? I don't know. Let's see right now. So that's something that you would have to heat up to get it to fit on there. Now if you do that, again, it's not something that I necessarily recommend. As you can see, it's just not big enough. In doing so, in warming up this head, you pop that on, what happens is you will stretch out this plastic to where this head won't fit on the Power and Glory Captain America head anymore, because it'll stretch out that peg hole to where it may not work with the other figure that it was intended for. That's why I don't do those types of things. You guys go for it. If it works out for you, that's how you want to do it in your collection. Go for it. But for me, that's not something that I do. So you can't just pop it on there. You just have to heat it up, and I'm sure you'd be able to force its way on there. I was curious, so I put the Quantum suit one on this, and it does fit a little high. So the head itself is basically the same. It's a little bit more detailed. I don't know if it just came in how it kind of came out, but the Quantum suit one is a little bit more detailed there, but that head fits much higher on there. So this ball peg was drilled in much more to get it to fit on this figure. Okay, and here is the two Endgame Captain America figures, or the two important Endgame Captain America figures. And you can see that this new one does, well, new old one does stand taller than the Worthy Cap. I like the Worthy Cap. This is my favorite movie Captain America figure, and there's been a bunch of them, but by far this is my absolute favorite Captain America figure, and it's just much better of a figure all around. Articulation, sculpt, everything about it is better than this one. Now, if you didn't have that original one and you do want something to add to your original Avengers display, this is a very good addition to it. The blue is much better and much more movie accurate. Although it was pretty bright in the movie, it does look a lot better in this new form. So if you have a chance, you probably can pick it up. He is double packed, so he's probably going to be easy to find. He will be the peg warmer of the wave, I'm sure. But, you know, you guys let me know down in the comments below. Are you going to be picking it up, or are you passing on it? Do you have that old Captain America figure from the Walmart line? If you do, what are your thoughts on it? I'm curious. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Hit that thumbs up button if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.